We're now officially halfway through the act, and we thought it would be a good time to update our tier list. It's usually hard to get every agent right at the beginning of a patch since the changes can shift the meta really drastically. So in this video, we're going to be updating that list, giving you guys a much more refined version after playing on the patch for the last month. As always, these tier lists are created using ranked and pro stats to make sure that they're as accurate as possible. This helps us make sure we're able to provide you guys with the most accurate information possible to help you on your climb. But before we get into the tier list, be sure to check out SkillCapped.com if you're serious about improving this act. We offer in-depth guides on every agent in the game created by Immortal and Radiant level players who have mastered those specific agents. So whether you're trying to learn an agent that we placed in the S tier or all the way down in the C tier, we have the resources to help you get the most out of that agent. It's also backed by our rank improvement guarantee. So if you don't improve while actively using our service, it's literally no risk. With that said, let's get into it. To kick off this mid-act tier list, let's start off by talking about the Duelists. And we're happy to say that not much has changed since our last tier list. We were pretty on point with every duelist on the list. However, there are a couple of agents that I think are important to talk about. For starters, we have Yoru, whose rework last patch was honestly everything that Yoru players were hoping for. Riot did a great job fixing a lot of the issues that he previously had, making him a viable agent in the current meta. And Yoru's not just viable, he's pretty damn strong right now. He's easily a top 3 duelist, if not higher, competing against agents like Reyna and even Jett. The rework to his fake out ability was a huge change, making it so much more versatile, and being able to use all of his abilities while in his ultimate is a game changer. Finally, allowing Yoru mains to be able to fake a teleport too was a nice touch, just giving him another option to outplay people with. Next up on the list to talk about is Neon, who we might have been a bit too harsh to last tier list. Although a lot of what we said last patch is still true, she's not really as bad as we made her out to be. Yes, she does have some problems like how her ultimate's time to kill is just a bit too long, but her kit has a lot of carry potential when used correctly. But when played super well, she can be an extremely annoying agent to deal with, thanks to her stun and crazy speed boost she gets. She even saw some experimentation in pro play by Optic Gaming. For now, we're still keeping her in the C tier, but I would keep an eye out for her because that could change at any time. Other than that, there isn't that much else to talk about when it comes to the duelist. Jett is still in our S tier as the best duelist right now, with Reyna right behind her in the A tier. Reyna is still hanging out in the B tier, although she can feel a lot stronger sometimes when played by someone with really good aim. And finally, there's Phoenix, who's unfortunately still in our C tier for the time being. Hopefully he gets a buff soon, but for now, that's it for all the duelist changes. Moving on, we're now going to talk about the controller meta this patch, and there are a couple of changes worth mentioning. For one, we were mostly right about Brimstone being strong, except we weren't exactly right about how strong. We originally put Brimstone in the A tier, but after seeing him in action over the last couple of weeks, it's pretty obvious that he's stronger than we thought. In fact, Brimstone was so strong, they even had to dial him back a bit this patch by reducing his stim beacon count by 1 and increasing the price by 100 credits. Nevertheless, even with that 1 stim beacon, being able to speed boost your entire team is still just that strong. Brim's stim is insane and makes it pretty much impossible to stop a push where there are 4 or 5 enemies running at you full speed while all stimmed up. There's little more you can do than just give up the space for free or get run over hoping to get 1 kill if you're lucky. The speed boost also messes up certain timings that players are not used to, allowing you to catch them off guard. An example of this is on Bind in Showers, where it's pretty hard to get into the corner next to the door on defense without getting seen. With Brimstone's stim pack, a player can now get there before an enemy is able to see them thanks to the speed boost. There are a ton of other little interactions like this that really mess with players, since Brimstone can now rotate to certain positions faster than pretty much any other agent, besides, I guess, Neon. Because of all this, Brimmy has been moved up to the S tier, officially solidifying himself as the best controller in the game right now. I also wanted to quickly mention Omen, who has moved up from the B tier to the A tier. Although not as strong as Brimstone right now, the buffs to Omen certainly were impactful. The speed increases to his smokes and faster TPS are not something that should be ignored, and those buffs have made Omen a very solid agent right now. Finally, Astra's nerfs from before definitely did impact her a lot, and since last patch, I've barely even seen her being played at all anymore. There is a very solid argument for moving her down to the B tier, but there is still a very real possibility that she still sees play in the pro scene, since her kit is still very powerful when its potential is maximized. Because of that, Astra is staying in the A tier for now, but depending on how the next couple of weeks go, she could end up being moved down to the B tier. Next, it's time to talk about the Initiators, which is another class that hasn't really changed since last patch. All the Initiators are in the same spot, but we definitely need to talk about KO right now. KO was already strong before, but the last patch that shook up the entire meta was more generous to him than we initially thought. the hits to Astra benefited him a lot more than you would expect. KO's suppression is very strong, allowing you to turn off the abilities of enemy agents, and because of that, you were able to run over anyone who was trying to hold a site, and there was very little they could do to stop it. Astra was a great counter to this strategy since she can both smoke and use her gravity well from across the map, since she would be too far to be suppressed, and her util could help to stall long enough for your teammates to get their abilities back. Without Astra in the meta, there really isn't a counter to KO's suppression, and because of that, he's been starting to see more and more play. Over the last month, KO has been getting picked a ton in pro play, and he's also been getting picked a lot more on the competitive ladder. Right now, we still have KO in our A tier, but he's been getting closer and closer to our S tier every patch. So don't be surprised if you see him get moved up in the near future. With that, there isn't much else to talk about when it comes to the Initiators, so it's about time we move on to the final role. Last but certainly not least, we have to talk about the Sentinels. When it comes to the Sentinel role, there have been a few changes made to our tier list since the beginning of the act. For one, we've moved Chamber up to the S tier. He's so strong compared to the other Sentinels right now, and his kit is just so versatile. He has some of the best util for watching flanks with his trademarks, and his rendezvous allows him to play as aggressive as a duelist and not get punished. This makes him very unpredictable, and a good Chamber can be very hard to deal with. He's also one of the few agents in the game that gets a weapon for their ult, which really helps his economy. And on top of that, the weapon he gets is an op that is better than the original thing. Because of this, over the last month, Chamber has been climbing in pick rate in the pro scene and currently has a pick rate of almost 40% across all maps. This made moving Chamber up to the S tier an easy decision. Thanks to Chamber being so strong right now, we ended up moving Killjoy down to the B tier from the A tier. She's still a good pick and has some maps where she's very strong like Ascent, but in a lot of situations, Chamber is just usually the better option. Sage was moved down for a similar reason. She's still a very strong pick on Icebox, but besides that map, there isn't really much of a reason to pick her over the other Sentinels. Other than that, there weren't any other changes to the Sentinels this patch. Before we go, remember, if you want to learn how to play any of the agents mentioned in this tier list, make sure you check out SkillCapped.com. We also just launched our new Academy course where we literally walk players through everything they need to know to climb the ranks, so there's no better time to get started than now. This is your act. It's time for you to get the rank you've always wanted. So what are you waiting for? Head down into the description and visit skillcapped.com. You can thank me later. And that's all for this patch's tier list. Hopefully this mid-act update to the tier list helped you guys out by giving you a better idea of which agents you should be playing for the best results in the competitive ladder. If there are any agents you think should or shouldn't have been moved, make sure you leave a comment letting us know. Finally, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, we here at SkillCapped want to give you a huge thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.